Are we gonna have an abortion debate right now?
We can. That's interesting, right?
Yeah, we can.
Are you guys pro-life?
Yeah.
Pro-choice? Okay.
Pro-choice.
But I honestly strongly believe that most Republicans claim to be like pro-life and everything, but then they're against contraception. So I don't think they're actually pro-life or anti-abortion. Just saying.
It's not clear to me that conservatives or Republicans are necessarily What kind of contraception?
Oh, like all types of contraception, IUD, emergency birth control, just long-acting.
Plan B?
Yeah, Plan B. You literally have, let's see, Ohio, Bill 704, Virginia, HB 1395, I believe, Louisiana as well, all in 2022, tried to pass laws banning long-term contraception. So like IUDs, like insane shit like that is happening.
Even non-hormonal like IUDs? Well, no, there's the copper IUD, which is not, because what I have heard from Republicans and conservatives, they make the argument that the hormonal birth controls have a negative impact on like fertility and on your health, and it's not good for you to be on it. But but I don't know if they full outright object to contraception such as like condoms or non-hormonal contraceptives.
Well, I mean, in the past, there have been, I think it's been consistently conservatives who have been against legislation allowing for condoms. So like, for instance, there was a Supreme Court case where people were handing out condoms, and contraceptions were only...
How long ago though? Because I've heard about this a long... But like in recent history, I don't think conservatives or Republicans are that against contraceptive use.
And that's
I don't think they're that against it.
In 2022, you had Louisiana, Ohio, Virginia, Texas all tried to ban long-access contraception. In 2021 and 2022, the federal government tried to pass a bill guaranteeing contraception as a federal right to people. Every single Republican in the House voted against it, as well as in the Senate. So this is something that, you know what, the majority of conservatives in general throughout the population, over 90% of the population agrees this should be a right that people should have.
But no. When you say a right, hold on, just to clarify. The second thing you mentioned there was it sounded like they didn't want to have it be taxpayer funded.
No. I mean, as a literal right. I mean, as a state should not be able to say, hey, it's illegal to sell condoms. It's illegal to provide IUDs.
Wait, I just want to make sure you're not strawmanning the opposition here.
I am not.
There are states that are trying to ban condoms. I just want to, I haven't heard of that, but is that actually, have you guys heard about this?
I think there is something to be said.
Be a straw man.
Okay, right now they can't ban condoms. Right now it's not really an issue.
Ban?
Hold on, no, Brian. Right now it's actually not an issue because of the Supreme Court case, which made it so that right now it's like a constitutional right to like have these because of a Supreme Court case, but it's not codified. So right now, a state wouldn't be capable of banning abortion. Am I right? I'm correct.
Well, no, there are states that have banned abortion. But also, I want to ask, like, for you pro-lifers, like, do you truly think that someone will be a good parent if they did not want a child but are forced to?
I don't think you're not forced to have the child. You're forced, like, first of all, if you want to, if you're going to subject yourself to getting pregnant, if you're going to open your leg,
but there are people who just open their legs, but they absolutely would not be good parents. But that should be a consequence. Like a whole nother life form should be a consequence.
I don't think you should be allowed to murder somebody just because you think that you might be a bad parent. There's other options out there besides murder. Do you think that a life of suffering is better than like? I think a life of suffering.
A life of suffering whatsoever.
But not many people actually always get adopted.
And even if they're not adopted, okay, even if they're an orphan, that doesn't mean that they're a life of suffering. And even if it is a life of suffering, life itself is better than being brutally murdered.
And haven't you guys heard of those people who literally talk about that? They're like, my parents wanted to abort me because this was the situation. I was down and out. I was in this situation. And honestly, I was one of those kids. My mom wanted to abort me due to what my grandparents said because they are very traditional Hungarian. They do not believe in having children. Yeah, I'm Hungarian. They do not believe in having children out of wedlock. Mm-hmm. And so my mom got married when she was like 6 to 9 months pregnant with me. But you hear these stories time and time again.
No, closer towards you.
Oh, to me. Oh, I'm so sorry. You went like this. Okay. Well, there's also different opposite arguments where one of my best friends growing up, like I met her in middle school and we're still best friends right now, where I asked her about the abortion argument. She said that her parents only ever wanted to have one child and that her mom was pregnant out of wedlock before, and if it weren't for that, she wouldn't have existed. So there are also a lot of people who wouldn't have extra children if it weren't for them becoming financially stable or into wedlock. Like if you were in wedlock and more financially stable, you would have like 3 or 4 kids or something, versus if you're a single mom, sometimes you can't afford to have more like healthy, happy, like financially stable children. So there's like the opposite. There's arguments on both sides, where I truly do think that if someone cannot afford to have a child and has a really bad relationship and turbulent relationship with everyone around them and are like drug addicted, I don't think having a child is good.
I don't think that should negate somebody's, like, that doesn't negate the fact that it is a life ended. And this is I find the disparity in this argument is, where does life begin then, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some people believe it's from conception. As soon as it happens, from that very moment, some people believe it's at 28 weeks. Other people believe it's much further along. So I think that's the semantics that we come down to. We all agree that it's wrong to terminate a life, to kill somebody. We all agree that's wrong. I think the point of disparity is, where does that actually begin? Where does that life begin?
When they cannot live out of the womb. That's like, from my personal perspective, and also I think culturally for me and Kathy, like
yes.
We're Chinese, and I think for Chinese people, or like just like spiritual, whatever, like historical, like religious stuff, like your soul, you breathe in your soul, your first breath when you are out the womb, or whenever you breathe in your first breath, that's when the soul comes in, or at least that's what I was
you guys
taught.
are taught in like your religion, or just...
I mean, there's not really that much religion in China besides Buddhism, which
Wait,
is like
hold
they
on.
believe in.
I'm sorry, my aunt's Chinese. She also said that like when you're born at 1 year old, because they consider your life to have started at literally the moment of conception, and so therefore when you're born, isn't that true? Like you're not born at 0 years old, you're born at 1 year old.
I've heard that.
I've heard that for Korea.
Me?
Is that in China, or is that
is
other
in
Asian
China.
cultures? Because I've heard that exact
I've
same
heard that in
thing.
I
Korea
think in
only.
some Asian cultures, not for me in Shanghai, but
It's not
maybe
in China, but you're saying it's in Korea.
Or
and
are
some
they-
other-
Shanghai's in China.
Yeah, Shanghai's in
Beijing.
China.
But you're saying it didn't happen for you, and you're
Not
Chinese.
for me. I don't count myself a year older, but I do know some
But
people from
you're
China.
saying that people in general in China, on the balance of probability, meaning at least 51% of the time, are people inclined to believe that or not believe that? Or are you talking from your own perspective?
Not from my generation, no, but I cannot speak for
So
other
your mom's
generations.
generation and the
huge.
I mean,
Wait,
well,
can you scoot your mic that?
Oh, yeah.
Like on your legal paperwork, when you're born in China, they start counting you 1 year old at the moment of birth.
But do they do
born?
that, Kathy? Do
Or
they
9
count you
months
as
old?
1 year old
Here,
on
let's,
the paper?
We're going to move away from abortion here. So
Oh wait, okay.
are.
Can I say one more thing, just on the access of contraception thing?
last thing, go ahead.
Okay, because you're saying like, oh, are they banning condoms, blah, 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 but specifically they're trying to ban IUDs. And you can say, oh no, it's a health thing, maybe it's a health thing, et cetera, et cetera. There has been no study that has shown long impacts on fertility if you're doing it properly. Now, if you're misusing your birth control, if you're doing only emergency contraception, if you're leaving your IUD too long, then that's something else. But again, you shouldn't ban IUDs as a whole because of that. That's like saying like, oh, we should ban like, let's say soda or something unhealthy if you misuse it, you know? But that's my
So wait,
last.
have any of these bans actually been passed on birth control?
No, but what has been told over and over again, well, funding has been cut for birth control, for access for birth control, especially in like low income communities. So that's really bad. Second of all, you had these groups that continuously say, we're not going to stop passing these bills until they pass. And then on the other hand, you have Republicans who are like, hey, you know, instead of codifying this law, we're going to veto it. We're not going to pass it. So it's, to me, in my opinion, imperative that we try to pass this instead of being like, no, we're going to leave it in a
you got
limbo.
loud all of a sudden.
she's
Sorry,
passionate.
I'm
No, it's
passionate.
good.
Yeah.
No, I think the reasoning is
But-
because the birth rates of the U.S. is going down. The birth rate, we're still increasing in population no matter what. So it affects our 401k, our retirement, our Roth IRAs, and overall, like all of those things only exist and work
Wait, you're
with
like
stocks.
hiding behind the mic.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Can you push
Only
it?
thing, does
to-
it? Is it not directly?
No. Can you move
End
it
of the table.
To your clavicle.
to your that
Right here?
that way? Can you to your right?
This here? Right here?
Yeah. There we
Okay. So basically, I think that people are panicking and trying to ban abortions and also some certain types of contraception because the birth rate is going down, as that's like the trend for any very developed country. But a lot of our economy is based off of the population and like having workers on the bottom to sustain everything. And even like when it comes to any sort of retirement plan, 401k, Roth IRA, it's kind of a Ponzi scheme where they depend on more people to go into the workforce, and people are also dying later, and so your retirement funds.
Wait, what are we talking about here?
We're talking about like the reason there are a lot of anti-abortion laws being passed recently.
You think it's a populist control, like levelation? Populist control levelation thing is the reason behind the legislation?
I think it's partially the reason, because you see America talk about like Europeans, like how the population is declining, and then it's like, oh, like they're not going to be an economic power.
Well,
okay, we're moving on.